Yeah, I'm fine. There's a little spit on the.
Sorry, I just had to Google if you could get sick through Zoom while he's.
Yeah, no, you can't. I checked.
I put a mask over the camera.
Yes. You start spraying Lysol at your lens.
Oh shit! Sorry, my computer's it's kind of glitching out. I don't know what happened. It's probably all the Lysol you sprayed on it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners,
Hey,
the only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night thinks Ms. Daisy
Biz.
should drive herself,
Wow.
which thinks Ms. Daisy should
Go on.
leave Hoke alone.
I mean, the man needs a job. The man's looking for employment.
You're right. I have no words 'cause
Sorry,
you're right.
sorry. I didn't
It's
mean to
kind
poke
of
a hole in your.
point.
I didn't mean to poke a hole in your whole thing there, but
I'm uh Chevy.
oh, and I'm Chevy, spelled the same, pronounced differently.
Incredible.
Yeah.
No, I'm Michael, he's Ander. And this is a podcast where every week we pick a best picture winner at random to try to figure out if it's best picture worthy. And this week we are talking about the 1990 best picture winner directed by Bruce Beresford.
Ooh, shout out.
It is Driving Miss Daisy, and it stars Jessica Tandy as Daisy Worthen, who is an old lady who at the beginning of the movie she backs her car up too hard and goes like over like not a ditch but like kind of like a driveway into another person's like yard or something.
God, that scene. I'm just like, oh
It's
shit,
so good.
it's great. It's maybe a perfect scene. I'm like, Daisy drives herself. Oh, this is surprising. I didn't know this about her character. Backs it up over a cliff instantly within seconds. It was perfect comedic timing.
And Dan Aykroyd, her son, who plays Bully Worthen, keeps telling her, like, listen, the insurance company won't insure you, or if they do, you're going to have to pay a lot of money to them to be insured because you're so old. And she's like, no. That's like the first like 15 minutes of the movie. She's like, oh, leave me alone. She's like, I'm just going to take the trolley. I'll have all my women friends come over to my house and we'll play bridge or mahjong.
Mahjong, yeah.
Yeah. And then Dan Aykroyd's like, I actually have a good idea. I'm going to do it behind my mom's back. I'm going to hire another old person.
Who's really not much younger than Daisy.
He's like maybe 10 years, if that.
I think all the time jumping confused me a little bit, but
I
I
get into that.
I think you're right.
An
Yeah.
interesting part of the movie. But he hires Hoke Colburn, cool name, played by Morgan Freeman, to be her driver. And what follows is just 90 minutes of kind of back and forth. This relationship between Hoke and Daisy developing.
She's reluctant at first at his introduction, and they already have a woman who helps out around the house, Idella.
Yeah.
She kind of cooks and cleans and prepares meals, all that stuff. But I feel like Hoke and Daisy's relationship progresses in maybe the most predictable way you can. It's a tale as old as film itself. one person doesn't like the other person, and one person's kind of like, pushes them a little bit, and then they warm up to each other, and then something happens and they split again, and then something brings them back together, they reconcile. It's that formula, we've seen it.
It's Green Book, it's Rain Man.
I will say, not for nothing, Green Book is a wildly more entertaining version of this, for what it's worth.
Yeah. So you'd never seen this movie before?
No.
And I saw on Letterboxd you gave it 5 stars because that's as many as you could give it, but you said I would give this 10 if I could.
Well, yeah. Well, then I went back and amended it because I was like, that's a little excessive. It doesn't quite capture what I feel about the picture.
Yeah.
I said I would give this infinity stars if I could.
Yeah.
No, I think this is not a good movie. It's just so bland. And before I even get into any of the content of the movie, I'm sorry, I gotta pick on him. Hans Zimmer, what is this? What is this score?
It's like a really kind of almost like anonymous, like sitcom score.
I guess he just doesn't do normcore scores very well. Like if we're soaring on an incredible epic, he's like, oh yeah, actually I'm going to come up with a timeless masterpiece that everyone will remember and hear in their beating hearts until they die. But if it's an old woman being driven around by a man, he's just like, I don't know, some fucking basic ass music.
It makes his Rain Man score sound really interesting which it is an interesting score, the Rain Man score, but it's so like weird and it feels like it's like it jars with the content of Rain Man, but like at least it's like it's got stuff in it. It sounds
You're not
like
gonna
an
get
aquarium.
me to compliment the Rain Man score. And then there's the movie.
Oh, you watched the movie? I just listened to the score.
I did reluctantly watch the movie. Hoke is introduced in the most Bradley Cooper ass, limitless ass fashion when the guy's stuck in an elevator at Booley's, I guess it's some sort of warehouse or industry that he works in. And then I don't know what Hoke is even doing there. I don't know what his job is, but he's like, I just gotta jimmy the lever a little bit. You see the little switch? And the guy's like, yeah, just pull that. And then it starts working again. Everybody's like, yeah.
Hoke is there because he has a meeting with Bully about driving his mom around.
Oh, so he already has a meeting.
Yeah, because I think that guy who was on the elevator was like his friend, and I think he was the one that was like told Bully, like, hey, I have a friend. If you need a driver, this guy needs a job. So like
Oh, see, that does make more sense, I'll admit. I thought Bully was just like,
what's your story?
What's your story? You want to drive my mother? She is very
old. You want to drive Miss Daisy?
Wow, I feel good.
This is the most wow, I feel good ass movie I've ever seen.
Truly it is.
Mrs. Doubtfire doesn't hold a candle to driving Miss Daisy.
No. This is, even though I've never seen this, I felt like I've seen this 100 times.
Yeah.
There's honestly not even much to say about it. I couldn't figure out how the fuck old Daisy was for the longest time. It took me a minute. She said she was born in 1876.
Yeah, because she tells a story about like 1888, and she's like, I was 12 then. I was like, you were 12 in 1888?
That's like my thought too.
It's so funny because it's like, well, yeah, like old people in the 40s or 50s were born in the 1800s. I was just, that like kind of blew my mind a little bit to think about. You were born like 10 years after the Civil War.
How do we feel about Daisy, the character?
She's a pain in the ass.
She's a pain in the ass. I mean, like, she's, I guess, nice. She's like net nice.
I don't know. She's the most annoying thing about her is she'll be like, I'm not prejudiced, and then she'll say like, she'll make a bold generalization about like, I mean, she makes a lot of bold generalizations about like black people, and I'm like, shut up.
There are a lot of points where you're gonna tell an old woman to shut up while watching this movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't reflect anything on your character. It's just, I think, how the movie was made.
It's Bruce Beresford's fault.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think this movie's good.
No.
I didn't hate watching it though. Like I wasn't like bored ever. I thought it was like pretty fucking, boilerplate. It was pretty,
Yep.
like you said, like we've seen this a million times. But I was never bored. I think it looks pretty good. You got some really good, like kind of like southern glowing lights coming in through windows, and like I think the production design is cool. Like like the house, like the way her house looks, it looks very like period appropriate. It looks very lived in.
Sure.
Sure.
Well, sure isn't like those are the invisible aspects of the
Yeah,
film. The
yeah.
thing is like we're searching for things to like. Yes, that all is very good. I guess they made a house look like it was in the South, even though it was probably on a studio in L.A. somewhere.
That's like sort of like bare minimum they had to do.
I think they actually did film this in Atlanta, but
Oh, okay. And here's the thing. I think Morgan Freeman is one of the best, right? We've covered, this is like the third movie that I can think of that we've covered him, and we just talked about him recently in Million Dollar Baby, which he's great in. He's good in this movie. I think Hoke is like, it's almost offensive how little depth he has.
yeah,
Is just like the kind of kindly older black man who's like, he says yes'm, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll take you wherever I want to go, and like he pushes back occasionally to the things Daisy says, but like very lightly, and it's only just to be like, well, have you considered this, or like, oh, I'm just doing I'm trying to do my best, and I'm just like, does this guy ever get angry? What's like his story? I mean, there's one moment in the movie where he talks about it's near the end where because Miss Daisy, she goes to temple. As I said, she's Jewish, so she goes to temple, but Hoke's driving her there at one point, like later in the movie, and like I guess like somebody bombed the temple.
yeah,
And then as they're driving back, she's like very upset, she's crying, and he tells her the story of like, when I was a kid, I think it's his friend's dad.
yeah. His friend's
Yeah,
dad.
he's like,
He used to play catch with.
Yeah, he's like I saw him like the night before, and then the next day, me and my friend, like, we saw his father and he had been lynched. And I'm like, that's, I don't know, I guess you could argue, if I'm being very generous, which I don't really have cause to be for this movie, but I guess if I'm being generous, it's like you could almost see Hoke's character, like his sort of like trying to approach the world as if it doesn't hate him. You could see that almost as like a response to the things he has seen, maybe.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think it's really in the movie. I don't think that's actually there. That's me like being, as I said, very generous. I think it's just like the movie's through a white gaze and a white lens, and like the only way it can imagine a white audience being on the side of a black character is by presenting him as uncomplicated as possible, which is offensive, I think, which is bad.
Yeah, totally.
Like
that's also maybe like the one out of maybe being generous again, maybe 2 points in the movie where they even talk about race. Crash, they're talking about race every single goddamn second. I mean, that movie sucks, so it's a bad comparison, but
yeah. I think this movie is slightly better than Crash, believe it or not.
I do, yeah, I also do. But like that moment where they're in the car, driving back from the church that had just been bombed. She's church, the temple that had just been bombed. That's the first time Miss Daisy's ever like, black people must have hard lives sometimes.
And then there's the sequence too where like she goes to see Martin Luther King Jr. speak.
This I don't get at all.
It's such a weird scene. Like it. So
hold on. He's there. Is she seeing him live at this dinner, or are they seeing a recording?
So I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Bully goes to see his mom, Miss Daisy, and he's like, "Hey, maybe you should invite. Like, I know you're going tonight. I know I was gonna go, but I'm not gonna go because it might look bad to like the white kind of other business people in town, the white investors, the people who might give my business.
Which is like, all right, fuck off.
And you're like, yeah, okay, spineless. But he's like, hey, you should maybe invite Hoke. Like, have you thought about asking him to go with you? Like, other than just driving you there?
She's like, why would he want to go with me?
You're like, is this lady the stupidest person on the planet? And then on the way there, she's like, Hoke, what do you think about Martin Luther King? He's like, and he's sort of like, he's almost like, what? Like, what do I think of him? Like, he's good? I don't, what kind of question is that? It's a really weird interaction. And then like, she says something. She's like, you didn't want to go to this. She doesn't even ask him. She's like, oh,
No.
you didn't want to come in with me. And he's like,
nobody fucking asked me.
yeah. And it's just like, and then the speech that Martin Luther King Jr. is giving is like about not like the overt hatred of like racist people, but like kind of apathetic people who are sympathetic but apathetic to the cause of like racial justice.
Yeah.
It's like if you know, Miss Daisy is like, oh, I'm not prejudiced, but it's like she actually isn't like doing anything to like, her whole life hasn't done anything to like uplift black people other than just like hiring them to work for her, which is, you know,
right,
a complicated relationship, just kind of inherently. And then she like, that's the first time where she's like, wait, I haven't considered that I'm also part of the problem too. This is weak sauce.
This is totally
sauce needs some fucking salt. It needs some fucking diced onion. It needs something in the mix.
You're like, oh my god, because you get the it's like, oh no, this was your big moment, huh? This was it.
15 minutes left in the movie.
This was your emotional climax. Yikes. Yeah, it was, as you said, weak sauce.
The thing I'll say about this movie, and I'll kind of give it a little bit of credit, is like there aren't really scenes where characters are like, I'm like, where let's listen, Miss Daisy is like, I am racist, and she goes up to Hoke and says, I apologize. I see you as a person now, right? Like that scene doesn't really happen. And I think hold for a second. I might be wrong.
No.
I almost appreciate a little bit. Let me big asterisks that, because the movie's so fragmented. It takes place, so you know, it's not a long movie. It's like 95 minutes without credits, and it takes place over the course of 30 years, and it just keeps jumping through time. And it's like, by doing that, it kind of skips over those moments, and each time it re-enters a new, you know, each time the scene cuts and we're in a new time period, it's like the change has kind of happened off screen, and now the new scene is tinged with what has occurred before, if that makes sense. And I think that's like a little bit more graceful than some of these movies tend to do it.
Oh. Wait, what?
Huh? What?
Wait. What do you mean by graceful?
I just think like it. See, I'm anticipating how you disagree now because I'm thinking about it. I think
I could tell you, I'm right here.
No. Let me guess.
Okay.
I mean, my guess is that you think that feels wrong because like it feels bad. Like it feels like it isn't good because it's like, well, I didn't like see these characters actually like have that growth. It just kind of like happened off screen.
Yes. This is the aspect that actually actively pisses me off.
Okay.
The director just says after they have this revelation, it's flat, but I guess
the Martin Luther King Jr. scene, that scene's really
it sucks, but it's whatever.
It has so much juice.
No, it really does not. But what really infuriates me is that then the director goes, oh, and then 20 years pass, and then just pretend like their relationship got really good over time. But we're not going to show you any of that shit. That is fucking piss poor filmmaking. I'm sorry. That sucks.
When you put it like that, that actually is a good point.
But wait, what are you saying?
I was saying, like, so this movie's based on a play.
Fucking what? It is?
Written by Alfred Uhry. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. Uhry. And he wrote the movie too. The movie very much feels like it's based on a play in that there are just like time jumps, and it's like so it's sort of it's like, oh, the ambiguity of theater. It's like you have to kind of fill in the gaps like every time you come back into a new scene. It's like because time has passed. And I think that is in the movie, and I think it's kind of interesting. Again, kind of is like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 1.5 out of 10 interesting. But I do understand what you're saying.
Fucking make a movie as a movie. Don't make it as a play. If you made a play, keep it a play. If you want to make that play into a movie, then you better make it a fucking movie. Don't skip a bunch of shit because it's better for a play. That doesn't translate to being a movie. That's stupid.
Let him cook. He's
it
cooking.
Makes me so mad.
I mean, let me say too, obviously I didn't read the play. I don't know if it's exactly like this. I assume it's this. To me, this movie very much feels like a play, and I imagine he just kind of like translated it to screenplay format, maybe added a few scenes outside that you couldn't do in a theater.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. All right.
Idella dies.
Her pie.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this is honestly, this maybe makes me even madder, is that he feeds her pie. They're both old as dirt.
Yeah, Miss Daisy gets either Alzheimer's or just like kind of gets dementia, and like gradually, you know, her faculties are degrading. She's put in a home. They sell her house.
And then she's kind of like, you know, the closing scene is in this care facility that she's in, and her son and Hoke go to visit her.
She tells her son to fuck off.
Yeah, she's like, go flirt with the nurses or something, she says, which is okay. And then she says to Hoke, she's like, "You're my best friend."
Well, she says that before. She says that in the scene where like Hoke comes over, and it's like the first time that she's like having like a sort of kind of delusional episode or whatever.
Right.
And then like he sits her down, he's trying to calm her down, and then she's like, "You're my best friend." And I'm like, fuck off.
It makes me mad because it does still make me emotional. Like I'm still like, it still has the weight of being like, fuck, that's nice. That's actually really nice.
100%.
But it's so unearned.
Even the scene where he's feeding her pie, the last shot of the movie,
yes.
There was something. So another thing, I guess I love this movie. Another thing I think this movie actually, it's another thing I like about how fragmented the movie is and just jumps through time kind of really haphazardly is, it's my Letterboxd review, but it's just like, it really made me like existentially sad about how time, like, I think condensing this like 30 years into the space of a 90-minute movie just feels like horrifying to me. Like in a way where it's like, oh yeah, life is that quick. The scene right before they go to the care facility, like Hoke and Bouillon Cube, what's his name?
Yeah, Bouillon Cube. Bouillon Cube Busters.
Miss Daisy's son, Dan Aykroyd, they're standing in the empty house. And it again, fuck this movie, but it hit me. I was like, oh man, there was like used to be like life in this house, and now it's like gonna get sold to somebody else. And it's like they're gonna forget about the people who lived here, the people who like occupied this space and time. Like there was something that like was sad, like existentially sad to me about it.
No, it does know how to hit certain buttons.
Yeah.
To make you emotional.
Yeah.
But in a weird, twisted way, it's almost like it's doing it robotically. It's almost like none of those emotions felt earned, which is like such a strange feeling that I don't think I've ever gotten from any other movie before. Like if I feel sadness or if I feel some sort of emotional impact or weight, usually it doesn't really matter how it comes about. It's like, okay, you made me feel something. This is a good aspect of your movie. But in this case, it feels low for whatever. Like it just doesn't feel good. It just feels like, fuck you. I can't believe you got me to feel something, even though I really just don't like this movie or feel like you deserve that emotion from me.
Yeah. No, I get that. It feels like it's taking advantage of you.
It does.
Yeah.
It actually
Yeah.
does.
I mean, the only other thing, just speaking to the passage of time, like at first I didn't know the movie was doing that because again, Hoke and Miss Daisy are older already. I started noticing the time passing when like I actually think it's kind of subtle at first, and I think it's like good, almost like good makeup. Is like you see Dan Aykroyd's hairline receding.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember noticing, I was like, is his hair shorter?
That's how you can clock the passage of time
Yeah.
by Dan Aykroyd's hairline.
You know, nobody gives men credit for how
we go.
their receding hairlines keep track of time for you.
That's true. You know how much time passes by. You say, Dad, send me a pic. Send me a selfie. There's a can of salmon jump scare at one point.
Yeah, that was another racist episode on Miss Daisy's part.
But what a ridiculous scene that is. So she accuses Hoke of stealing canned salmon.
Yeah.
And then she thrusts this can of salmon at her son and is like, look at this. And the music is like,
It does go like
Like-
that. It was really silly.
it was like jump scare music. I was like, holy shit.
Oh my god, that can of salmon's got a gun.
Can of salmon was fucking terrifying. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we maybe glossed over. She teaches him to read.
That's I'm like, fuck this. Again, it's like I don't know.
She's like, reading's fucking easy, dumbass. Just fucking, what does this say? It says B, right? Buh. What does that say? Find the Burr tombstone. Go.
She does say it like basically exactly like that without the cursing, but she does say it kind of like it's simple.
This movie would have been better if Miss Daisy did curse a little.
Yeah. There's also the thread where like Hoke keeps reminding Miss Daisy that like she's rich, and she's like, I'm not. I was born. We wanted for much when I was a child, and I'm like, okay.
And he's like, well, now you have a lot. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, it's like,
you.
fine, but now you have money. And she's like, I was just born and I didn't know, and my grandmother sewed my clothes and blah. Like, okay.
I mean, it's kind of funny, like, or not funny. It's kind of. It's sort of. I guess it's kind of a interesting flavor in there of like, oh well, she's like. Kind of how like, oh, if you maybe grow up poor, it's hard to like, even if you like get comfortable, it's hard to like ever feel comfortable. But it's like, again, that's like, it's just like a thing that's thrown in the movie. It's never like really like made sort of an overarching part of Miss Daisy's character that I could sense. It's just sort of like there.
Right. Exactly. Like, it's not really addressed any further. Nothing is addressed beyond the surface level.
100%.
There is no real analysis or exploration in any sort of meaningful sense.
Yeah.
Of anything.
Nope. Would you like to hear the other nominees for the year 1990?
Yeah. Give me some other options.
All right. So first up, obviously, fucking this movie won. Driving Miss Daisy won. Sorry, you can tell I'm vamping. Driving Miss Daisy won Best Picture. Next up we have Oliver Stone joint. We'll cover one of his movies soon. But this year he directed Born on the 4th of July with Tom Cruise.
Holy shit.
Have you
Really?
seen this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, you have? Okay.
This movie will wreck you.
It's really sad. About
Incredibly. Yeah.
It's about paralyzed in the Vietnam War, Ron Kovic becomes an anti-war and pro-human rights political activist after feeling betrayed by the country he fought for.
I saw this in high school.
Okay. Speak on it.
I can't remember much. I just remember thinking it was a very emotionally impactful movie and being like, holy shit, Vietnam was fucked up, man.
I've seen like maybe parts of like the first like hour 45 minutes of this movie, maybe. I do distinctly remember. I want to say Ron Kovic, after, at least in the movie, after he is paralyzed,
Mhm.
he like lives in like Mexico,
Yeah, I
and
think he moved somewhere.
he's in a wheelchair, and like he's just like kind of, I think he's like doing drugs and drinking. I just remember like watching it being like, this is really upsetting.
It is very
And I was
upsetting.
probably like 11, and I was like, I don't think I'm equipped to handle this yet.
Yeah, it was one of those movies, maybe one of the first movies I had seen where it was like, you're kind of like waiting for the turn for him to, finally find something to get back on his feet. And he just does not. He just has a very bleak remainder of his life. And you're like, oh,
Next up,
yeah.
Oh Captain, My Captain,
Wow. Don't know what this movie is. I like the phrase.
we have Dead Poets Society,
Oh, never mind.
directed by Peter Weir,
Weird.
who I think's come up before. Didn't he direct Witness? I think that was nominated for Best Picture. That was the one with Harrison Ford and the Amish people. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, that's actually on my watch list, believe it or not.
It is on my watch list too, because I hear it is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard it owns bones.
The Born on the Fourth of July, this, and then the next movie are all sort of like cable classics. Maybe Born on the Fourth of July is like an HBO classic.
Mm.
It's like premium cable, but
Ooh.
cable classics that I've seen like bits and pieces of, but never the whole thing. Dead Poet Society is another one. Takes place at an elite old-fashioned boarding school in New England, where a passionate English teacher inspires his students to rebel against convention and seize the potential of every day, courting the disdain of the stern headmaster. The English teacher is
Robin
played
Williams?
by,
Was it Robin Williams?
yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen this. It's one of those movies where like every parent will tell you to watch it.
100%.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a dad classic, maybe the most dad movie that's ever lived.
Nice.
It is Phil Alden Robinson's Kevin Costner starring Field of Dreams.
Wow. Very cool.
Have you
Very
seen this?
good. No.
Okay.
This is If You Build It, They Will Come?
If you build it, they will come.
Okay.
He plays catch with his dad at the end of the movie, who's also a ghost.
Spoilers.
Um,
I mean, what the fuck?
Ray Kinsella is an Iowa farmer who hears a mysterious voice telling him to turn his cornfield into a baseball diamond. He does, but the
Sorry,
voice's directions don't.
That's the premise?
That's the premise.
His mysterious voices?
He builds it, but the voice's directions don't stop, even after the spirits of deceased ball players turn up to play. Yeah, he builds it, and then, like, shoeless Joe Jackson's ghost shows up and starts playing with, like, fucking Babe Ruth.
This sounds kind of insane, actually. It's like Poltergeist. What is the movie with the all-women baseball team?
A League of Their Own. I love that movie.
Okay, never mind. I was thinking, I don't know why I get those confused. Baseball. I also get the Rookie and Rookie of the Year confused. That maybe makes more sense because of the titles, but
Yeah. Rookie of the Year is...
is that the one where he injures his elbow in a weird way?
Yeah, and he could throw balls really fast. And he's like 12.
Yeah.
I love the genre of movie because there was also Little Big League. Do you remember that movie?
No.
Little Big League was where, like, for some reason this like 13-year-old gets to be the manager of a baseball team. I don't know why, but there was so many movies in the 90s where it's like kids play in the major leagues or associated in the major leagues in some way, and I just love that. You gotta bring that back. That show.
So much appeal. It does inherently have appeal. I want to see a kid playing baseball with the Angels.
And finally, Daniel Day-Lewis stars in Jim Sheridan's My Left Foot. No one expects much from Christy Brown, a boy with cerebral palsy born into a working-class Irish family. Though Christy is a quadriplegic and essentially paralyzed, a miraculous event occurs when, at the age of 5, he demonstrates control of his left foot by using chalk to scrawl a word on the floor. With the help of his steely mother and no shortage of grit and determination, Christy overcomes his infirmity to become a painter, poet, and author. We'll talk about the thing we're not talking about in a second. But do you think Driving Miss Daisy is Best Picture worthy?
No, I think it's borderline embarrassing. I think it's and really the worst thing they could do is it's just not interesting. It's just like not fun to watch. Yeah, I could put up with a lot of bullshit if you make it fun, and this is just not.
I agree. While I found, there were things to like about it, I think it's not a good movie though.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the worst we've watched for this program, but I don't think it's good. I don't recommend it. I think it's crazy that it won Best Picture, considering that Do the Right Thing came out this year,
Yeah.
which you watched.
I did well. I watched it like almost in succession, actually, right? Like
That
right
must have been
after.
weird.
Yeah, it was. It sure
Oh.
was. They don't feel
What
like they
is
came out in the same year.
And what was your experience watching?
This is, I mean, first of all, way more entertaining than Driving Miss Daisy, a way better racial commentary than Driving Miss Daisy. I'm still a little bit conflicted on this movie. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I think the acting is a little bit stilted. I think some of even the script, I think some of the lines are heavy-handed and like there are a few instances of like this is not how people talk to each other. Like a little bit script heavy, and then some of the delivery is a bit overdone. But what I do think Spike Lee did is like created a very, vibrant and believable world, which is, modeled after the real world. Most importantly, it took a different angle on racial commentary in the sense that it's not meant to be comfortable or easy. It's supposed to make you think, which it does. It will do afterwards, which is a testament to this movie. There's a lot of great music in it. There's a lot of a lot of fun moments. There's like the whole dancing intro is 10 out of 10 stars. Great performance by Samuel L. Jackson as the radio DJ, just like
your Love Daddy.
Mr. Senor Love Daddy, just broadcasting, kind of being like the narrator of the whole thing. There are some instances of like where I'm like, why did this character do that? Or like, why are they? But it really boils down to the thought-provoking idea that something as simple as just putting up a picture of Jackie Robinson in your pizza place could be the one small gesture that
Stop somebody from getting killed.
Stops somebody from getting killed,
Yeah.
stops your business from being destroyed, stops your neighborhood from being destroyed. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was far better than Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
I think it at least deserved a nomination. I don't know if I would still pick it for Best Picture, but
Do the Right Thing is one of my favorite movies. Like one of
Yeah.
my 5 favorite movies.
speak on it.
It's a movie that still feels relevant. It's a movie that doesn't have easy answers. Whereas I think like movies like Driving Miss Daisy are like trying to solve racism.
Yeah.
The Right Thing is like presenting racism as it like exists.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a really annoying question.
Go for it.
In what way is that different from Crash?
I mean, Paul Haggis is certainly going for Do the Right Thing. Like, I think he's trying to do that because I do think
Yeah, I think so too.
Do the Right Thing is like a funny movie. It's fun at times. Like, it's not like
Yeah.
a slog. It's sort of like a really incredible movie about how like prejudice is just kind of woven into just like every single day.
Yeah.
Just like walking around. It's just like it just like exists in the air because of history, because of I don't know. Whereas Crash, I mean, listen, Paul Haggis is no Spike Lee. Spike Lee is obviously like he's made, several, if not a dozen masterpieces. Paul Haggis, I don't think has made a good movie.
Do the Right Thing, I feel like also has more takeaways from it than Crash. Crash, when you finish Crash, you're like, what? What is this? Do the Right Thing is at least like if one, all it takes is someone to concede from doing their favorite like all it takes is like for Sal to fucking have some pictures up in his business. Even though, sure, yeah, it's an Italian business, you want pictures of Italian Americans, whatever. But if you just take that one step towards, trying to understand your community, trying to understand one another. If you want to try to understand the Asian shopkeeper, who's who brought his family here, and like he and his family probably fought hard to stay here. Just one layer of understanding can compound on each other, and that can lead to at least a level of understanding where you can live together in peace.
Yeah.
I think that's a valuable takeaway. Crash, I don't know what the fuck they were trying to say.
To me, it's crazy that Do the Right Thing wasn't even nominated, let alone.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, it makes sense though that the Academy would award a movie like this versus, to me, Do the Right Thing feels very radical, even still.
Yeah.
I think I can imagine what pissed Spike Lee off about Driving Miss Daisy winning is like it presents a black character that is like very uncomplicated and palatable for white audiences, and it's like, well, here I made this movie about like a whole community of complicated people who like scene to scene, like you'll like them, and then you'll be like, oh, I don't kind of like how they're picking on DeMayer.
Yeah,
but
which
like,
they do. Yeah, yes,
but it's like, I don't know. It's an interesting. It's way more interesting. I don't know.
Right. Agreed. But you know what? Frankly, it doesn't even matter, because what really matters is the opinion of the good people, the people of the internet, the collective, our society, and their opinions on Driving Miss Daisy. Would you like to hear some reviews that I found about Driving Miss Daisy?
I absolutely would.
Give me the name of somebody who's on the pedestal and with his bullhorn and just screaming to the masses.
Elon Cuck.
Elon C. Cuck says 5 whole stars.
God.
All of you hating this film are bitter and ugly. Catching this on TV when I was younger was always a highlight, and I'm glad I rewatched it. So there.
5 stars,
give me the,
really?
5 stars, yeah. They love it. Give me the name of somebody who's a little bit, perhaps new to this whole thing, new to this whole internet thing. Maybe they're just figuring out. Maybe they're as old as Miss Daisy herself. You don't have all day.
Huh?
No, sorry, go ahead.
Erwin J. Moth.
Erwin J. Moth says, a single star. 1. English subtitles needed. Could not follow the film, as Southern accents were unintelligible, very irritating. Could do with English subtitles. Stopped watching after 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you very much for that review. I could use a name of someone who's a Gen Zer, somebody who's a modern film buff on the up and coming.
I wonder if she's watching. Evelyn Preston.
Sure, Evelyn
our
Preston.
Gen Z film buff, our Gen Z correspondent.
For all intents and purposes, this review comes from Evelyn, our good friend and past guest of the show. She says 0.5 star. Movies like this is why I feel like people are way too harsh on some recent Best Picture winners. We really don't know how bad Best Picture winners can truly get until we go back and watch films like Driving Miss Daisy. I feel like that's a fair take. Maybe we're a little harsh on recent films. I feel like perhaps there's some recency bias because I skew younger, but I feel like by and large, modern movies are better than old movies.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but
okay.
I don't know.
I just look at in terms of the Best Picture list. It's harder for me to like a Best Picture winner from the 40s than it is to me to like one from the 2010s.
I probably basically agree with that. Like, I'm sure if I were to, if I look at my ranking of all these Best Pictures, it's like my favorites are like the more recent ones, like in the last like probably like 40, 50 years.
Same. Ah, yes, recent times. 40 years ago.
Until next time, if you're ever next week, sorry, we're talking about next week we're going to talk about The English Patient. I don't know.
Sure.
But until next time, if you ever find yourself without the ability to drive a car, just hold out your thumb
Yeah.
and let that hot dog pick you up and take you wherever you need to go.
Beautiful.
Pay him in mustard and ketchup.
You must.
See you next week, Wieners.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that microbait shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners.
Oh, I want to see give me any kid getting yelled at by Gary Busey, honestly. I'll watch hours of that.
Give me TMZ footage of Gary Busey shaking a little boy by his lapels.
And you better believe
screaming
it's
at
out
his
there.
face.
Just shaking a small German boy with lederhosen, just like